قد أفلح المؤمنون.
Moving on to number 4 is Habib ibn Muzahir al-Adi. And Habib is a companion which I covered previously in one of my earlier videos, but there's no issue in covering him again. So Habib ibn Muzahir, some reports say al-Faq'asi al-Asadi, is one of the famous companions of Imam al-Husayn. If you go to Karbala today, you will see that he has a dharih for himself. He has a small mausoleum within Imam al-Husayn's shrine to himself. And so Habib ibn Muzahir, when it comes to piecing together his biography, we rely on a few sources. We rely obviously on the Maqtal, but we have some reports regarding him in Rijal al-Kashi, which are very, very important. And I will go over them inshallah. So the reports tell us that he was one of the Shia of Imam Ali alayhi salam in al-Kufa. He was among the heads of the Shia who wrote to al-Imam al-Husayn, salamullahi alayhi. And so Habib bin Muzahir, it is reported, and this is in Tarikh al-Tabari in volume 19, page 28 to 29, so that he was one of the people who wrote to Abu Abdullah al-Husayn, salamullahi alayhi. And when Muslim ibn Aqil came to Kufa, he called on the Shia to give bay'ah. Abbas ibn Abi Shabib al-Shakiri stood up, and after praising and glorifying Allah, he said, I cannot speak to you for the people, because I do not know what is in their hearts, nor would I deceive you about them. By Allah, I can, however, tell you what I have decided for myself. By Allah, I will answer you when you call me. I will fight your enemies alongside you. I will strike with my sword in defense of you until I meet Allah, seeking nothing but Allah's reward. And so Habib stood up and spoke. He said, may Allah have mercy on you. You have explained what is in your heart by your concise words. Then he said, by Allah, other than whom there is no deity, I am of the same view as Abbas. And so we don't have any explicit reports that tell us exactly how Habib managed to join al-Husayn. But we would assume that he managed to slip out at some time after the martyrdom of Muslim ibn Aqil, similar to Nafi' ibn Hilal, and so he managed to escape al-Kufa and he joined al-Husayn at Karbala, and al-Husayn alayhi salam appointed him to command the right flank of his forces during the battle. And this is in al-Tabari in volume 19, page 120, which gives I believe it gives the order of battle. It explains who al-Husayn appointed to command what part of his forces. And so the left flank went to Habib ibn Muzahir. So once the battle began, Habib, actually, wait, I skipped over something. I apologize. We further read on page 124 of the same source in Tarikh al-Tabari the following. We read that al-Husayn alayhi salam, he delivered a sermon addressing the soldiers of Yazid's army prior to the battle on the 10th of Muharram. And so during his address, and we'll cover this inshallah, this address during the bio of Abu Abdullah himself, Ash-Shimr la'inahullah interrupted him and said, consider me as one who worships Allah very shakily on the edge, if I understand what you say. And so Habib snapped back at him, I think that you worship Allah very shakily on 70 edges, for I testify that you are truthful by saying that. You do not understand what he is saying, for Allah has sealed your heart. And so when the battle finally begins, it is reported that Habib is one of those people who fought very fiercely. And during the battle, and we covered this with Muslim ibn Awsaja, Amr ibn al-Hajjaj al-Zubaydi, who commanded the right wing of Yazid's army, launched an attack against al-Husayn from the direction of the Euphrates. They fought together fiercely for a time, and during the melee, Muslim ibn Awsaj al-Asadi was struck down. But Amr and his men withdrew, and the dust lifted. Al-Husayn approached Muslim as he lay dying, and he said to him, Muslim ibn Awsaja, may Allah have mercy on you. Of them, the believers, is he who has accomplished his vow by death in battle, and of them is he who waits. They have not changed at all. And this is a reference to the Quran. This is in Surah Al-Ahzab, Ayah 23. And we've discussed this before. This verse is very famous. Rasulullah would recite this verse whenever he would see one of these shuhada from his companions, such as Mus'ab ibn Umair. And so Habib came to Muslim as he lay there dying, and he said, Muslim, your death is hard for me to bear, but rejoice that heaven is your abode. And he replied in a weak voice, may Allah bring you the same luck. So Habib said to him, I know that I am following you at this very moment. Otherwise, I would have liked you to entrust me to carry out everything that concerns you, so that I may preserve for you what you are worthy through kinship and religion. So Habib said, and Muslim said to Habib, he answered him, Indeed, I do entrust you. May Allah have mercy on you to do this. And he pointed towards al-Husayn and he said, I want you to die with this man. To which Habib replied, I will do this by the Lord of the Kaaba. So this report is in al-Tabari's book, in Tarikh al-Tabari, volume 19, page 137 to 138, as well as Ansab al-Ashraf, page 400 to 401. So regarding the martyrdom of Habib ibn Muzahir, it is reported, and this his maqtal is reported by, let me to pull this up, this is in Tabari, page 142 to 143. His martyrdom is narrated as follows. It says that as the battle continued, Abu Thumama reminded al-Husayn that prayer time had come. And so al-Husayn salamullahi alayhi ordered his men to cease fighting and to pray. And this is the prayer that they did is known as Salatul Khawf. And so at this point, one of Shamar's men named al-Husayn ibn Tamim mocked al-Husayn alayhi salam and claimed that the prayer would not be accepted. When Habib heard this, he angrily shouted back, You have claimed that it is not acceptable. Is the prayer of the family of Rasulullah not acceptable while your prayer is acceptable, you donkey? Al-Husayn ibn Tamim launched an attack against them, and Habib ibn Muzahir came out against him. Habib struck his horse's face with his sword, the horse pranced, and then Husayn fell from it. His followers carried him away and rescued him. And so Habib then began to recite his battle poem, his rajis. He says, I swear if we had the numbers you have, or even half of you, you would turn your backs. You are the worst of people, of lineage and of deeds. He also recited, I am Habib and my father is Muzahir, a horseman of battle and war that is kindled. You are more numerous than me, but we are more loyal and steadfast than you. Ours is stronger logic and clearer right. We are of greater piety and freer from blame than you. And I want to comment on this. I don't think I've ever seen a legends that answers a shubha quite like this one. Because this is brought up a lot. This is brought up by the mukhalifeen. Unfortunately, even some of the mu'mineen who lack that sort of strength, that sort of courage. You say, why are we so few in number? Being few in number in no way means that your aqidah is wrong. Habib is saying, it's like, yes, the army of Yazid and his followers, you are more numerous than we, but we are more loyal and steadfast than you. Ours is stronger logic and clearer right. Our aqidah, our mawqif, our beliefs are based on logic. They are based on facts. They are based on the haqq. We are of greater piety and freer from blame than you. And so Habib then fought fiercely, and a man from Banu Tamim attacked him, but had struck him on the head with his sword and killed him. But then another man from Bani Tamim attacked him and stabbed him, and Habib fell. He started to rise, and al-Husayn ibn Tamim struck him on his head with his sword. He fell, and the Tamimi stooped down and cut off his head. Al-Husayn told him, I am your partner in killing him, and the other declared, No, by Allah, no one killed him except me. Al-Husayn demanded, Give his head to me, I will hang it on the neck of my horse, so that the people may see and know that I participated in killing him. Then you will take it and go with it to Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, for I will have no need, for you will be given for killing him. Moving on, because the rest of this is a dialogue between these two men. I don't think it's very important, but this is something worthy of note. The martyrdom of Habib greatly hurt al-Husayn. Habib is one of the companions of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn, where we see there's a narration for his reaction to the death of Habib. And he declared, I will dedicate my life and my brave companions to Allah. Al-Husayn is basically saying that after the loss of a companion like Habib, there is no turning back. I'm going to dedicate myself and all of my companions to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so I wish to go over something that is very, very interesting. And this occurs in the biography of Habib ibn Muzahir from Rijal al-Kashi, from Shaykhun al-Kashi, rahmatullahi alayh. So, and his bio also covers a prophecy that hit between him and the two other men of Kufa, and I covered this in more detail in one of my other videos. But I want to show you how he describes Habib ibn Muzahir, because it's a very fitting description, and it also describes the companions of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn. So al-Kashi, and this is in, to post this source, this is in the Rijal al-Kashi, which is also known as Ikhtiyar Ma'rifat al-Rijal, in volume 1, page 253 to 255. It's in the bio of Habib, which is report number 133 in the book overall. So he, after narrating the story of the prophecy that was given about how these men knew that they would eventually be martyred, he says the following. He says, وَكَانَ حَبِيب مِنَ السَّبْعِينَ الرِّجَالِ الَّذِينَ نَصَرُوا الْحُسَيْنَ وَلَقُوا جِبَالَ الْحَدِيدِ وَاسْتَقْبَلُوا الرِّمَاحِ بِصُدُورِهِمْ والسيوف بوجوههم وهم يعرض عليهم الأمان والأموال فيأبون ويقولون لا عذر لنا عند رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم إن قتل الحسين ومنا عين تطرف حتى قتلوا حوله. So this report in English, what the translation, Al-Kashi, what he says here, Habib ibn Muzahir was among the 70 men who supported al-Husayn alayhi salam. They faced mountains of iron. And this is a description, I don't think I've seen any other author or any other narrator describe it this way. وَلَقَوْا جِبَالَ الْحَدِيدِ, mountains of iron, of steel. And they welcomed spears with their chests and swords with their faces. They went out against impossible odds, while they were offered safety and they were offered wealth. But they refused, saying, we have no excuse before the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam if Hussein is killed and one of us blinks an eye until they are killed around him. According to Al-Kashi, he's saying that these men, what was their reasoning? One of their reasonings for why they fought for Abu Abdullah. They're like, out of shame for Rasulullah. What would we tell Rasulullah that we let your Bava, we would let your Rayhana be killed, and we lived long enough to blink so much as blink our eyes after him? What possible excuse could we give Rasulullah? Out of shame before Allah and His Messenger, we will take all of you on. Correct? And this description applies to the rest of the companions of Imam al-Husayn salamullah alayhi. And so this is why when we do ziyarah of Imam al-Husayn salamullah alayhi, you do, ziyarah of Habib ibn Muzahir, you can say, Ya Habib al-Husayn, ishfa' lana 'inda al-Husayn. O beloved of al-Husayn salamullah alayhi, please intercede with us with Abu Abdullah al-Husayn.